Today's episode is brought to you by Manscaped, our go-to for men's below-the-waist grooming products. Manscaped just launched the Ultra Smooth Package, a specialized 3-step personal grooming kit for your most sensitive areas. Step 1, crop exfoliator, infused with ingredients that can soothe and leave your skin feeling refreshed. The crop exfoliator can help reduce the risk of ingrown hairs. Step 2, crop gel. This unique clear shaving gel comes with 4 essential oils. It's like a spa treatment every time you shave. Step 3, the crop shaver. This is not your average razor. It's smaller, thicker, with a micro comb bar that allows for the best shave possible from any angle. 3 precision blades include extra wide lubricating strips and a pivotal head for the ultimate groin grooming experience. Get 20% off plus free shipping by going to manscaped.com/Chael or click on the link in the description below. Nate Diaz versus Leon Edwards. Guys, to start at the beginning, okay, and I'm trying to share a perspective because I was there. I was there live, but being there live is a little bit different. It's not, there's stuff that you miss that you just wouldn't see on TV. There's an energy, right? There's a noise in the building. You probably can't tell at home who gets the loudest ovation, but that is a microcosm of a much bigger picture. You want to know who's a star, who's over, who's popular guy? That's the microcosm. Whoever got the loudest eruption, that's the most popular guy on the card. Pretty simple, right? But you kind of only know that if you're there, so I'm just share with you. I know the Diaz boys are loved. I know they're popular. I know they're stars. I did not know it to this extent. I mean, I can remember the last Nate Diaz fight that I was at. That isn't true. I was at the BMF one, and before that was his comeback fight against Pettis. But the ovation that Nate got, even at the weigh-ins, it was 2-1, 3-1 over the next best thing. And don't forget, you had Stipe and DC on the card. I mean, popular guys. In California, DC set up shop in California years ago, right? I mean, DC did just fine. People were there to see him. 2-1, 3-1. It was Nate Diaz. Same thing happened on this card. There was one eruption louder than Nate. Hold that thought because I'm going to get to it. So Nate comes out, and the first time they pop his face up is when he's leaving the locker room. They do a locker room shot. They walk him all the way down the tunnel. This place is going crazy. I could not believe it. Okay. The only thing that erupted that building louder than Nate Diaz is they did a very quick cameo. It was no more than 3 seconds. They threw the camera on Nick, but put it on the big screens. So you might have seen that at home, but even if you didn't, they threw it on the big screens there in the arena. And that was the only thing louder than the reception that Nate got. And for those guys to be that level of star at this point in their career, Nick, by example, talk about your point in his career. Is Nick's career over? Does he even have a career? He has no license. He has no opponent. We're told that he still has a contract. We're told that those things are changing. I'm only offering for you. Tell me somebody else who left the sport 5 years ago, no matter how good they were, how popular they were. You tell me somebody that left the sport 5 years ago that could have the loudest ovation of anybody in an arena. Oh, by the way, the heavyweight champion was there. The middleweight champion is going to defend in just a moment. The first ever Mexican-born champion happened that night. Nobody had the reaction of that crowd like Nick and Nate. I mean, you want a slam dunk? Hey, Nick and Nate, go fight Logan and Jake. Do it on the same night. I mean, you want to just have slam dunk business? Want to just talk about a cash grab? I mean, there's ways to do it, but these guys' popularity, it's shocking. I just wanted to bring that to you. That might be the biggest behind the scenes thing that I could offer for you, was just how enthusiasm, how ecstatic people were to be in the presence of the Diaz boys. So the fight itself, I mean, how much do you want to break it down, guys? It was rinse and repeat. Did you see the first round? Because if you did, you've seen every round. Did you see the last round? Okay, great. Then you saw every round. Nate did a wonderful job of luring Leon, and I do believe that Nate succeeded at this. Nate lured Leon into a stand-up fight. And many people, when Nate picked this fight, Nate, what are you doing? This guy's going to crush you. This guy's ranked number 3 in the world. Talking about Leon, this guy hasn't lost in 5 years. This guy, 9 times up to bat, he got around the plate the last 9 times. Nobody has bothered Leon. Last time Leon lost was when a brick fell on his head. That brick happened to be named Kamaru Usman. You know where I get that expression, by the way? My first day in martial arts class, I was a college wrestler. I go to a martial arts class. Okay. And the instructor had all sorts of moves, man. This guy, he was trained in sword fighting. He'd take a gun out of your hand, like military tactics. This guy was very skilled. And then one of the guys said to him, yeah, but what happens if you fight a wrestler? And the instructor looks at him and goes, well, what happens if a brick falls on your head? Meaning you're screwed. You're screwed. There's nothing you could do to plan for a wrestler. There's nothing you could do if a brick falls on your head. I was a wrestler, so I took it as this huge compliment, but I also thought it was kind of funny. And that's the last time that Leon lost. A brick fell on his head, named Kamaru Usman. Why does Nate want this fight? And when I say Nate picked him, I'm using the right word. We got 2 guys in all of MMA that will let us know who they're fighting. They pick their opponents. Conor McGregor and Nate Diaz. Everybody else gets a phone call. These guys have that much stroke and that much respect, and they've been there long enough and they've moved enough merchandise, they could pick their opponents. So why the hell would Nate pick Leon? Okay. Took me a while to figure it out. Took me a while to figure it out too, but I finally did. I figured it out that Leon's a British fighter. He's not a super powerful wrestler at all, which means it's going to be a stand-up fight. Nobody really gets to jump on Nate in a stand-up fight. And you don't need to correct me with the Josh Thompsons. And Nate's been around a long time, but in a broad stroke, nobody gets the best of Nate in a stand-up fight. That includes Cowboy. That includes Pettis. That includes McGregor. Great stand-up fighters. Nate does a little bit better. You got all these boxers calling out MMA guys right now. You have Oscar De La Hoya calling out people in that exact weight class. He's never called for Nate Diaz. Point being, Nate's a handful on his feet. He's a pain in the ass. And he can talk about that Cesar Gracie Jiu-Jitsu black belt all that he wants. He does his best work right here. I think that's what he saw in Leon. Saw somebody that is going to stay there with him and give him opportunity. And for the most part, Nate was right. Leon did stay there with him. There was a couple of exchanges, a couple times they went to the ground. For the most part, this was a fisticuffs, and Nate was in it. Nate was in the fight. Leon did a great job with kicks. Leon does a great job with everything and never gets his due. One of the more telling things for me, a viewer, at the end of this fight, because when I'm watching this fight, I'm not only enjoying the fight, I'm then thinking what happens when Leon gets in there with Usman or Leon gets in there with Colby. I can't watch the fight any other way. I have to be thinking about what this means and what would happen if he gets in there for his title shot against whoever wins between Usman and Colby, is why I say that. So he's competitive. He can compete with those guys. He's going to have to show us a little more than he did against Nate, because both Usman and Colby can and will want to take him down. That's something that Nate did not even offer. Nate never offered the threat of a takedown, never came at him, never tried to close the distance, never tried to clinch and work, push him up against the fence. That just wasn't part of Nate's strategy. So it would be a very different fight, but Leon's good. And Leon at the end of the fight cut an interview, and he had just been wobbled. Don't forget that. He wins the fight. He loses the last round, but almost got stopped. I mean, he was wobbling. One more, the right shot from Nate, we all get up and go home. Leon did an interview. He wasn't breathing any harder than I'm breathing right now. He could not have been any more calm. He had his full wits about him. He was not exhausted by any means. He was not done by any means. And most athletes are. And it's nothing to do with conditioning. It has nothing to do with how hard did you work. Did you sacrifice? Were you disciplined? It doesn't have anything to do with that. Whatever energy you have, you use it. You use it all. You're always going to walk out exhausted. There's no difference in an easy fight or a hard fight. You put absolutely everything into every fight. Leon could have got 5 more rounds, right? I mean, the story coming into this largely did have to do with the fact that we're going to have rounds 4 and 5, even though it's not a title fight and it's not a main event. And it was the common belief that that's going to favor Nate Diaz. Now, it didn't hurt Nate. Nate did not wilt at all, but we also learned something about Leon, that Leon's a long-distance guy himself. Leon's made for championship rounds himself. Overall, great battle. To break down what happened, why? Does it matter? Does it really matter? You had a major high spot by Nate. You had an arena that was thrilled to see him and his brother. Shocking the level of business that you could do with the Diaz boys. And you got Leon solidifying himself that he's the number one contender. Is he going to wait? Yeah, I think so. I think Leon is probably going to wait for the winner of Usman Covington.